Hello and welcome. Today we will be talking about Project 1, the resume. As with previous modules, you'll see that the first part is your student learning objectives, what you need to read to be accomplished on this project, some resources for writing resumes, prior student work samples that you can review, as well as some other samples of resumes that have been perfected. Most people think the resume is fairly simple, but I am looking for some specific things, so I'm going to go over those with you right now. If you'd like to review resume building tips from your textbook, those will be found in Chapter 10. Please pay careful attention to the different types of resume to decide which one works best for you. You can do a chronological resume, listing out everything you've done in your past in order. Make sure that you put the most recent job first and go backwards through time. You also could do a skills-based resume, especially if you don't have a lot of experience, where you put up front all of the skills that you've earned that would transfer over to a new job and do well for you there. The next part of this assignment requires you to use your imagination. You'll need to imagine that you're applying to a very specific job in the field of your choosing, and you want to get your resume ready before you hand it over. Remember that you need to tailor your resume as much as possible to the specific job that you're trying to apply for, and make sure that the skills that you have now that will work in that job are the most highlighted skills on your resume. For example, if you're applying for a management job, you don't want to talk about all of the maintenance work that you've done somewhere else. Please note also that for a resume, you must include your personal information. I've had students in the past who were somewhat leery of using their personal information for this assignment, but please be aware that I already have access to that, and I am the only one seeing this unless it's incredibly wonderful work, in which case I will make sure that you know I'm going to use it with future classes, and I will delete your personal information or mask it. So please use your own real, actual personal information just as you would on any resume where you actually applied to a job. The things that you must have on this resume are your contact information. That's your name, your address, your phone number, and your email. Please don't forget your city, state, and zip code, and please do include your street address. I've had several folks who would just put, for example, Pasadena, Texas, but I need the entire address. I also need your objective or professional summary. What's your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? Your education. You can include the degree that you're currently working on as long as you put pending or anticipated, and put the date that you expect to earn it. I need your work history. Volunteer information will work here if you don't have any paid work history. If you've only done odd jobs here and there, try to list out the skills that you've learned from them as best you can. Make sure that your resume has visual appeal. It needs to be laid out neatly. It needs to be easy to read. It needs to draw the eye in and not just be plain text on a page. This is not an essay that you're writing. You should include your skills and qualifications, what you know that would be very good for the company that you're applying to. You should also include any awards or achievements or honors, volunteer work if it's separate from your work history, any professional associations you belong to. Those should all be included somewhere in your resume. You also should not include any first-person pronouns. Do not speak in first person in a resume ever. Never say, I studied this, I did that, I learned this, I provided that. Don't say I. Just stick to quick bullet points. Don't ever include your photo. There are a few very select industries that would ask for a photo, but they are very few and very far between. Don't include your social media information unless you have separate social media that is only for work matters. If you have anything at all personal on your social media, don't include the link. Many companies are going to look you up anyway, but don't provide them a shortcut. Don't include anything that indicates your race, your religion, or any other protected class, even if it's the name of an organization where you volunteered. Don't make your resume longer than 2 pages. Even if you have a 30-year job history, you don't have to put all of that in there. And don't include every single detail of what you did at a former job. You're going to hit the highlights with bullet points and leave some of the information to discuss at the interview. If your resume is too text-heavy, then a hiring manager who is looking through thousands of resumes at a time is not going to take the time to read it. They want short, sweet, and to the point. Quick little tidbits, just enough to get them interested. and then you can talk about that in more detail once you have the interview. The goal of a resume is to get you the interview. The goal of the interview is to get you the job. Keep those things separate, keep those things in mind, and remember that when you're ready to submit, you go to the next link in the class where it says submit your resume, and you submit it here. As always, if you have any questions or concerns about the project, please let me know, and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can.